Hey guys, how's it going? I thought, here's my bike again. I thought I'd do an actual review of this specific bike and my personal experiences and opinions on it. Looked around YouTube and haven't found a lot of personal reviews on it, so I thought I'd do my own. There's a guy whose name is Skyline44512. Um, he has a 2008 CBR 600 and he does a great review, so if you're looking around to figure out what bike you want, you'll have my review as well as his. Like I said, good reviews on bikes. Go check it out if you get the chance. I'll put the link in the description. Um, so I thought I'd do a review kind of like his. First off, I want to talk about handling and power. The R6 is known for its ability to dominate the track and everything else on it. Um, Here in Albuquerque, we have a racetrack called the Sandia Speedway, and out of all types of bikes out there, um, that race out there, the R6 has the fastest lap time according to, the president that I talked to a couple weeks ago. Um, as sharp and edgy as it looks, it handles the same way. It's very aggressive. It accelerates quick and it brakes just as quick as it accelerates. Um, Out of any of the 600cc sport bikes, I wouldn't recommend the R6 as a first bike because of how aggressive it is, and both on the street and the track. You sit up higher on the tank and lower down on the handlebars more than you do with any other street bike that I've ridden or sat on. Mind you, these are all my personal experiences. But the good thing about this bike is it's very stable at high speeds. I've experienced no speed wobbles at all. It holds up really well due to the high revving, peaky motor and the stable frame that it's known for. Um, Speaking of the frame, you may wonder why the R6 has the sticker XUp Delta box on it, and it's usually right about here on the back of the tail. Um, Basically, what the XUp Delta box means um, is the XUp is inside the exhaust where the Delta box is the frame, and the XUp is actually inside the exhaust, and it's an exhaust valve apparently that only works if you have the stock exhaust on. So because I have a slip-on exhaust, it obviously doesn't work. But I've heard, if I heard right, it's a like a butterfly flap that's inside the exhaust, and it works with the exhaust from the exhaust of the engine, and it opens and closes to evenly distribute the horsepower and torque between the full rev range of the bike. And the Delta box, like I said, is just refers to the shape of the box-shaped frame, which Yamaha was the first to come up with a box frame for a sport bike. um, Anyway, out of all the bikes, the R6 seems to hold the first place in top speed, which is something that's pretty cool. It usually can go, from stock about 5 to 8 miles per hour faster than any other 600cc bikes. This bike can top from, anywhere from 165 to 169, and other sport bikes might do between like 154 to 160. And so, not too big of a difference, but it's because the engine does rev higher than any other sport bike. Um, the bike makes about 130 horsepower at the engine crank. Um, at least that's what Yamaha claims. It loses a lot of that horsepower from the crank to the wheel, and all the magazines that I've read about this bike say it averages about 110 horsepower stock at the wheel. And I'm not 100% sure about the torque. I want to say it's between 50 to 60 foot-pounds. Not sure at which RPM. Correct me if I'm wrong. Which makes it a very different power band with low torque and pretty high horsepower. It's something that when I got a 600, it took a little getting used to, because these bikes, they have such small pistons, and it gives the motor the ability to rev really quick and high. This bike and most sport bikes out there don't see their peak power band until around the red line. So with my personal experience, these kind of bikes lag at low RPMs. Unlike a car or a Harley where you get that surge of power at low RPMs and then it sort of dies, toward the higher end. The bike doesn't put out much power until about 6,000 RPMs. Like I said, kind of lags up until then. And then after 6,000, it seems to double in power after that. And it almost seems to like suck you in almost like a vortex until redline. As for comfort, I would unfortunately have to say that the R6 is the least comfortable sport bike out there. Obviously, if you're looking for a comfortable bike, you're watching the wrong video. This bike has the most firm seat, stiff suspension, and handlebars out of any bike that I've sat on or ridden. But then again, this bike, as with any other 600s, are built for the track. It's fun to ride around in, but if you're looking for a more street commuter-friendly sport bike, if there is such a thing, look at a GSXR or a CBR. They seem to be made with street riders in mind. They got a softer seat, raised handlebars. The CBR, the newer ones anyway, come with ABS or anti-lock brake systems, which will save a new rider when he or she's coming in too hot from a turn. The Gixxer has A, B, and C power modes for new riders, as well as riding in different weather conditions, unlike the R6 where it's 100% power all the way. Same with the Ninja. But if you want a bike to dominate the mountain roads, the tracks and the drag strips, as for a 600, the R6 is the best you can get. The reason I got an R6 is because I like the aggressive look of it and how razor sharp it is compared to any other sport bike. From the side fairings where it has a few side scoops like this one to help keep the engine cool. The fairings come in different layers like here, which is nice because good Lord forbid that you crash, but if you do, they like I said, it's not all one piece, and therefore not as expensive to fix if you do happen to crash. One of my favorite parts of this bike is the tail. I love how like pointy and sharp it is. It looks like a trident from this angle back here, which is pretty cool. And I've heard from a friend that when you get far enough back behind me, my tail light, it looks like a perfect circle, which is kind of cool because when you look at it from the back and from the side close, it's really pointy, but from far away, if it looks like a circle, that's kind of neat. I really like the LED signals. I mean, if someone's gonna slam into the back of you, it probably won't matter how bright your lights are. But especially going through traffic and riding at night, you can see the brake light up as well as the turn signals. Whereas a bike that has an undertail exhaust like a Daytona, older Ninjas like the 07, 08 and the CBR, it's a lot harder to see. I use this bike, to commute around town. I haven't been to the racetrack, but I've gone around mountain roads with this bike. And one thing I wish someone would have told me is that basically you're going to sacrifice comfort for performance. If you're young like me, it won't bother you too much, but even riding with passengers, I can't go longer than 20 minutes straight without my wrist starting to cramp up and all that. But like I said, it's the price you pay for a sport bike. If I had to rate this bike out of 10, I'd probably give it an 8.5. Yamaha makes a pretty great machine here, and if you take care of it and you're not popping wheelies off every stoplight or stop sign, then this bike should last a long time. Then again, I am more of a street user. If I was more of a track guy, I'd probably give it a perfect 10. Mechanically, never had any complaints at all. Overall, this bike's been a great bike. Stay tuned for more riding videos. My opinion on a 600 as a first sport bike, and that's about it. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and, like I said, hit me up in the inbox, send me a comment, whatever. But I'm running out of time here. So thanks for watching. I hope you like this review, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.